Obviously, we can't eliminate the physical effort. That's kind of the whole point. But what I've discovered is that if I can distract myself from what's going on, if I can disengage myself mentally from the workout that I'm busy with, then it feels effortless because I'm not actually thinking about what I'm doing. Before I start today's video, I just want to remind you that you have the power to help me produce this content. The way you do that is by going to patreon.com/D20, and you can pledge to become a patron, which means that you'll be sending me a little bit of money every month, which really helps to keep the lights on while I'm working on this content. If you're not able to or not willing to do that kind of thing, that's fine too. There are other ways that you can support it. You can like, comment, subscribe, share it with your friends. All of those things help because that means that I get more eyeballs on this content, which then improves my ability to monetize these videos in the future. All right, let's get on with today's video. Hi guys, it's Owen here from D20. If you're new to this channel, you might be surprised that this isn't a how-to channel. I don't really typically do listicles, but what I will be doing here is sharing some insights that I've picked up over the years. So I'm a person who doesn't like exercise. I never have. I did a video a little while ago talking about my history as an asthma sufferer and how that contributed to the fact that I didn't enjoy exercise. I mean, before I was diagnosed with asthma at 5 years old, I wasn't exactly the most active kid, but that diagnosis really limited my ability to express myself physically, and I associated exercise with bad things happening. So I never really liked exercise, and upon reaching adulthood, that's no different. I hate exercise. I loathe it. I've never enjoyed it. But what I have managed to do is find some success in figuring out ways of motivating myself to train regularly. So much so that I've been doing it now for a couple of years. But I seem to have found a bunch of tips and hacks of making my brain do the things that I typically don't enjoy doing. And I've been able to get some pretty decent results out of it so far. And I expect to be able to continue achieving similar results in the future. Because this is all about, for me anyway, this is about mastering my body. My body has always been something I've at least perceived as being somewhat out of my own control. I wasn't able to do everything that I wanted to do with my body because of my asthma. But having solved that problem largely, I'm now able to control my physical manifestation in this world in a way that I haven't been able to before. And the sense of power and accomplishment and achievement and freedom that comes from that ability is it's hard to describe. But it's not easy. And one of the things that's taken me this long, I mean, I'm in my late 30s now, it's taken me a really long time to figure out how to trick myself into being able to train regularly, given that I hate exercise so much. So I'm going to go through some of the things the lessons that I've learned over the years, because I've learned a bunch, and now that I've found a relatively stable way of doing this, I think it's now time that I can start sharing these things with you guys, and hopefully, if you have similar condition to me, these things might be of use to you. So as you can see in the title, there are 8 items on this list, but I've broken them down into 2 broad categories. The first one is motivation, which is how do you get to the gym, and the second category is what happens when you get there. So let's start with how you get to the gym. Now there's a core concept that overarches all of this, and that is you need to make the whole thing as easy as possible. Now obviously the whole point of exercise is that you're providing a physical challenge to your body and then forcing your body to grow and develop in response to that challenge. And that challenge by definition has to be difficult. It has to be pushing your body to its physical limits so that it will grow stronger. But that doesn't mean that it has to feel hard. And that's kind of the point. The whole the philosophy behind this approach that I've been developing for myself is in making something that is inherently difficult feel as easy as possible. And these are some of the ways that I do it. The first trick that I learned was that you have to establish a routine. And it took me a really long time to do this. And if this is something that you want to do, you need to be patient with yourself about this. But what I did was at the time I had an unusual situation. I was working from home, which meant that in order to get to the gym, I had to actually leave my workplace, leave my home every day, go to a gym, and then come back again, which was inherently inconvenient. But if you happen to work out of the home, if you work in an office somewhere, this is an opportunity now for you to find a way of making it convenient. Find a gym that is on your route, or at least a slight detour between your home and your office, so that you're driving past this gym on a daily basis anyway. For me, it was a bit more tricky because I had to actually go to a gym. So here's the mental bargain that I made with myself. As long as I went to the gym at least 4 times a week, it didn't matter what I did there, really. So I put it in my diary, in my calendar, 4 times a week or 3 times a week, depending on what workout routine I was trying out at the time. And I would get in my car and go to the gym and just spend some time there. And at first, it wasn't easy. I would spend sort of 10 minutes walking slowly on the treadmill, followed by 20 minutes on the super circuit. And then inevitably, I would start feeling lightheaded and I wouldn't feel like doing it anymore. But I'd spent my 30 minutes at the gym. That meant that I could go home. It didn't really matter what I was doing. And it took me about a year to really feel like I was in the routine of going to that gym 3-4 times a week and just moving stuff around, just doing things with my body. And it did take a while, but eventually, after about a year or so, I felt I was confident that I had now laid this foundation of this routine. So that was the first trick. I was able to trick my mind into thinking of going to the gym as just a thing that happened in my life. It wasn't a special effort. I wasn't exerting myself emotionally or physically to do it, to get to the gym. I could just do it. It was just part of my life. It was part of my daily or weekly routine. The second trick is, well, it relates to the first, but that is giving yourself a motivation to get out of bed and get to the gym. It's a lot easier if your gym is on your way to or from work. If you're driving past the gym every day, then you're already in the car, you're already out. You don't need to fight that mental battle with yourself. But as I said, I was working from home at the time when I was building on establishing this routine, and I had to find a trick to motivate myself to actually leave the house. It wasn't enough to just have this deal to go to the gym and back again. I needed some kind of a way to sweeten the deal, a way to motivate myself to get out of the house. At the time, this motivation has changed a little bit over the years because new tools have become available. But the trick that I use today is Pokemon Go. So I have a gym that's a few kilometers from my house. I live here in Cape Town in the Woodstock area, and my gym is in the CBD, which is 5 or 6 k's away. It's a little bit too far to walk comfortably, so I have to take the bus. So it's a bit of a schlep to get there. But I reward myself by allowing myself to play Pokemon Go on the way there and back again. There's so much Pokemon Go to be done between here and there. There are so many Pokestops and gyms, and there are frequently raids and that kind of thing that happen on my way to and from the gym. I get a lot of gaming done, and it really helps to motivate me because the game already has its motivational tools built into it. You're leveling up your character, you're catching new Pokemon, you're fighting down gyms, you're battling in raids. All of that gamification has already been done. All I've had to do is incorporate that Pokemon Go system into my broader motivational system to get myself to and from the gym. And if I don't go to the gym that day, that means I don't get to play Pokemon Go that day. So it's become part of that daily routine. There are other tools that you can use like that. There's Jurassic World Live, I think it's called. There's a similar sort of game. There's Ingress, which works off the same geographic nodes as Pokemon Go does, but it has a sort of a different gameplay look and feel to it. It's a bit more, I don't know, secret agenty, spy, high-tech type thing. It's a lot of fun. I originally started playing Ingress before Pokemon Go came out, and I switched because I preferred the lore behind the Pokemon Go universe. But whatever mechanism that you have to motivate yourself to get out of the house, those things all work fairly equally. You're plugging into a gamification system that's already been well designed and well put together, and you're just slotting that into that motivation slot in your brain, in your motivation system. A third motivation tool is how do I motivate myself to get better results? So now that I'm at the gym, how do I trick myself into wanting to do better, lifting heavier weights, spending more time there, doing more and more challenging things? And the way that I do that is through cosplay. So this is what I looked like in 2016. You'll notice that uniform is loose fitting, except in all the wrong areas, and that's not an accident. There are no photos of me in 2016 wearing tight fitting clothing because I wasn't in a place physically or mentally where I was comfortable in doing so. But at about that time, I was establishing that routine of going to the gym, and then it was around that time also that this image was released, and my partner said to me, I think you could probably pull off that cosplay now that you're going to the gym all the time. And at first I thought, no, there's no way. But then I thought, well, maybe I can. I was starting to notice some results. I was starting to notice a little bit of muscle tone, a little bit of heft in the right areas, peeking through my flabby self. And I thought, well, let me try. And not even a full year later, I was able to pull off this with confidence. And then a couple months after that, here I was as Aquaman. Now, obviously, my body shape there is nowhere near what Jason Momoa's is in the film, but at least I was close enough to it. I'd made enough progress that I was able to feel confident walking around at a convention with thousands of other people, half naked, and not have a problem with it, not feeling shy or embarrassed about it at all. And that confidence came from the results that I was experiencing through working out. And that's a thing that I can continue to use. If I'm going to make this cosplay work in a year from now, I'm going to need to get some more results out of what I'm doing. So I'm working hard. I'm learning how to do it. I'm educating myself on what workouts I should be doing in order to maximize my results. I'm even trying things with nutrition to try and tweak the tweak the whole equation to make it work a little bit better. And I'm hoping to get there. So cosplay is for me a motivating tool that I use to guarantee results. Now, I'm sure that not all of you are cosplayers, but maybe it's enough to just look good. Maybe it's enough to not need to wear baggy clothes all the time. Maybe it's enough to just be a little bit more solid, a little bit more trim and toned, and perhaps be slightly even more attractive than you currently are. All right. Tip number 4 is motivating myself to get cardio. Now, there are 2 different tools that I use for this. One is we have a fitness challenge on the USS Dauntless, our Star Trek fan club. I've mentioned this before, in which we each have our automated step trackers. I've got the Sony Smartwatch 3. Everybody else has something similar, like be it a Fitbit or a Polar Flow or any other device like that, and which is constantly logging our steps. In fact, you can use your phone. Your phone can also do that. If it's in your pocket, it can track your steps. And we're all hooked up, or all of those who are participating in the fitness challenge, we're all hooked up to the system called Count It, which logs all of our steps and then puts it into a weekly or monthly leaderboard. And then every month, I look at that board and see who's done the most steps, and I award a step towards the next rank promotion to whoever's at the top of the list. But top of the list, I must say, is almost always me. So I don't get the rank promotion because I'm the one who's giving them out. It wouldn't be fair. But this is a great motivational tool, is to try and compete against your friends in a sort of, not in a mean way, but in a friendly way. You know, this guy's a little bit ahead of me. I need to step up my steps a little bit. I need to get out there and do some more walking, or hit the gym, spend some time in the treadmill, that kind of thing. The other tool I use is a little bit more complicated. It's called MyFitnessPal. So MyFitnessPal is, in essence, a tool that you can use to log all of the food that you consume and keep track of the kilojoules that you're consuming versus the kilojoules that you're expending. You also connect it to your cardio tracker, your fitness tracker, and then what it can do is, let's say it can calculate based on your height and body weight and that kind of stuff, how many kilojoules roughly you're consuming just to stay alive every day. And then you can adjust that allowance based on what your goals are. If you want to lose some weight, then you turn the allowance down. If you want to bulk up, you turn the allowance up. And then what it also does is it offsets your steps for the day, pulled through from your fitness tracker, and grants you more kilojoules that you're now allowed to eat based on how much activity that you put in. And now, granted, MyFitnessPal is a non-trivial system to use. There's a bit of a learning curve, and it takes a while to get into the habit of it. It took me a good month before I was able to keep track of what I was going through, of what I was consuming every day, without having to think about it anymore. But once you get into the habit of it, it's actually a really cool thing, because now you get to see what you're eating. You get to track yourself over time. You can log your weight in it, and you can also motivate yourself with friends from there. You can have sort of friendly competitions to see who's lost the most weight or whatever it is. But what the way this is able to work for a motivational tool for me is that if I'm at or approaching my kilojoule limit for the day, and I'm walking past a Dunkin' Donuts on the way to the movies on a Saturday night, I can make a deal with myself. I can say, all right, if I do 3 more laps around this mall playing Pokemon Go, that burns enough kilojoules that I can now go and eat that donut. So I'm bargaining with myself, using food as the motivational tool to allow myself to do more cardio exercise. And that turns out to be a fairly effective bargaining strategy. Now MyFitnessPal It's based on human averages, so it might not work perfectly for you just based on the defaults. You probably, once you've got the hang of it, you'll probably need to tweak your daily allowances based on your specific results. But I've been using it long enough now that I've come up with a system that kind of sort of works pretty well for me. There are good forums on the MyFitnessPal website that you can go to for advice on how to do that. It's a really, really cool tool, and I recommend it. And if you do sign up with MyFitnessPal, then we can be friends. Come find me. I'll drop a link to my profile in the comments below, and you can come and friend me on MFP, and we can compare our results and even look at what each other has been eating. That's a lot of fun. All right, so that's the motivation category of this list, and the next one is going on to, once we get to the gym itself, once we're there, how do we make it feel easy? How do we eliminate the effort? Now, obviously, we can't eliminate the physical effort. That's kind of the whole point. But what I've discovered is that if I can distract myself from what's going on, if I can disengage myself mentally from the workout that I'm busy with, then it feels effortless because I'm not actually thinking about what I'm doing. It's almost like I can check my brain out while I'm busy working out, and then check back in again at the end of the workout, and it's like somebody else was doing the workout for me. I still feel sort of physically tired and exerted from the physical exercise, but I wasn't going through any of that tedium, the boredom, or the physical discomfort that was happening while the workout was going on, because I was somewhere else during that workout. And here's some of the ways that I do that. Now, the first thing I use is an essential tool, and that is this. This is a Bluetooth headset. This is a great one. It's kind of an old one now. It's a Logitech. I think the actual product name has worn off. Oh, here we go. It's an HBS 730. It's an old one, but there are new versions of this exact one. You can see how old it is. I've had to do some repairs with the cable tie because bits broke off. But it's really, really cool. My partner picked this up for me in Nigeria while she was on a trip a few years ago, just as sort of a cool thing that she could pick up there, because it turns out electronics are relatively cheap in Nigeria. And I've used this every day since. It's such a useful thing. You pair it up with your phone, you pop these things in your ear, and away it goes. This one happens to be really, really cool. You can get cheaper versions of it, but I highly recommend the LG one, because what this is it's not just a Bluetooth headset, it's also noise cancelling. These little earbuds, they fit so neatly in my ear anyway, that it effectively blocks out all other sound. And what that does is it puts me into this isolated little sound bubble where I'm not being bombarded with noise from the outside. And that's kind of important at the gym, because they always have that music going on, and sometimes they'll have screens up that are showing sports, and all of that stuff is distracting, and it pulls you into the moment. And that's what I don't want. That's exactly what you want to avoid with this distraction bubble that we're trying to create. So this is really great. You can put whatever content onto your phone that you need, and then you're able to hear nothing but whatever it is that you're listening to. Which then brings us to tip number 6, which is YouTube videos. So if your gym has Wi-Fi, that's easy. If your gym doesn't have Wi-Fi, that's also fine. What I've done is I've put together a curated list of people that I subscribe to on YouTube. And while I'm working out, I'm watching YouTube videos on my phone. I'm pointing at the camera because I'm actually using the camera on my phone to record this video. Otherwise, I'd be showing you. It's actually a really good camera. It's the Samsung Galaxy S7. But the YouTube app on Android anyway, and I'm assuming that the iOS one probably has something similar, has the ability for you to download playlists for viewing offline. So when I get to the gym, because my gym doesn't have Wi-Fi, I turn off the Wi-Fi and I turn off the internet connection on my phone, and that it forces the YouTube app into offline mode, and then I can watch through the playlist of offline YouTube videos. I like to keep the YouTube videos I watch to between sort of 10 and 20 minutes long, so that I don't get bored watching a longer video. Not that long videos are boring. I mean, this one's going to be over 20 minutes, but they can be. I don't want to be stuck too much on one topic. I want to be jumping between things quickly, so as to keep me focused on whatever's playing on my phone instead of whatever's happening around me. If you're not big into YouTube videos, that's also fine. I'd recommend loading TV series or movies onto your phone. That kind of stuff works too. But YouTube videos, because of that shorter length, I find that that's probably the optimal form of media that you want to be loading onto your phone for watching during a workout. The only trick there is that you need quite a long list of subscriptions of people that are putting out content on a daily or weekly basis, so that you've got enough videos to fill up your workout. I mean, if your workout is half an hour long, then that's not a big deal. If your workout is 2 hours long, like mine is now, you need a lot of content to keep you busy. As a second option, things like podcasts or audiobooks are also really good, and it works through the same system. You load them on your phone and away you go. The downside with podcasts and audiobooks is that there's no video component, so your eyes are busy looking around the gym, and it's easy to get pulled out of that audio experience and into the real world, which then breaks the distraction bubble. So it's fine as a second option, and if I run out of YouTube videos to watch halfway through my workout, which happens every now and then I'll switch to podcasts, but it's not as effective a distraction as the YouTube videos are. The seventh tip I have is very, very important, and that is a wearable fitness tracker. I've got this really cool one. It's called a Sony Smartwatch 3. I don't think it's available anymore, but it is an Android Wear watch, and you can get Android Wear devices on the market all over the place. They're generally quite a lot cheaper than their Apple equivalent, the Apple Watch. But functionality-wise, they're pretty much on par, so it's worth investing in a thing like that. Something like a Fitbit or a Polar Flow or something like that is fine. It helps you track your cardio and that kind of thing. But with a real proper smartwatch, even a Samsung Tizen device is probably okay. What makes these great is that they have customizable software that can be loaded onto them. You can download apps for the watch, and that's very important. Because I use an app called Exercise Fitness Tracker. I'll put a link to that in the Play Store below, and it's vital for how I manage my workout. Because what it does is I can preload my workout on the app on my phone and say I want to do 3 reps of barbell bench press at 60 kilograms. I want to do or 3 sets with 10 reps and then 8 reps and then 6 reps. I load all of that into the app, and then after that I want to take a 90-second break. I go into the incline bench press and a 90-second break, and so on. I can design my whole workout ahead of time and then sync it up to the watch. Then when I get to the gym, I put my earbuds in, I put the YouTube video on, and then I swipe onto the watch and I say, all right, I want to do my my Monday workout. Tap on the Monday workout, and then the watch says, all right, go to the bench press and load 60 kilograms onto the barbell. And then once you've done that, press here. And then I wait 90 seconds for my rest period. When it vibrates, I swipe to start the workout, and then I start pushing. I don't even have to count the reps. The watch is counting the reps for me. Once I've done the appropriate amount, it vibrates again to say, okay, it's time to stop. I put the weights back on, and then I'll wait until it vibrates again, because that means it's now time to start my next set. I don't have to think about the workout at all while I'm busy. I'm just doing whatever my watch says. Obviously, it's going to take a few tries through your workout before you don't have to think about it, and you learn to trust the watch, and also to make sure that you've customized your workout just the way you like it. But once you've got that right, it's great, because then you're thinking about the YouTube video that you're watching on your phone all the time. You never have to think about what you're actually doing, because your watch is doing all the thinking for you, and you can just effortlessly glide through the workout. But there's a trick there as well, which is tip number 8, and that is train alone. I know a lot of people find motivation in training with their friends. You're able to use some kind of like a motivational buddy system. Like you call your buddy up and say, hey, let's go to the gym. We need to go. No, I don't feel like going. No, we have to go. Oh, all right, I'll go. That whole thing. That's cool. It works for a lot of people. It does not work for me. And the reason it doesn't work is because if I'm training with another person, I want to be having a conversation with that person, but invariably that conversation will veer towards whatever I'm doing. So we're talking about, while I'm doing the bench press, we're talking about the bench press. We're talking about the reps. We're talking about getting the weight done, all that kind of stuff. Although it's helpful to have a spotter, especially when you're pushing heavy weights. What I find is that it's not distracting enough. It actually pulls me into the moment, and then I'm thinking about the workout, which is the last thing I want. So for me, training alone is very important. Working with a personal trainer is just as bad. Now, that's not to say that personal trainers have no value. Far from it. I've worked with some personal trainers in the past, and what I gained from them was technique. Learning how to do the exercises properly is very, very important. And it's worthwhile spending at least a few sessions with a personal trainer who can help you customize your workout and learn that proper technique. That's muy importante. But once you've got that down, the distraction bubble is more important than having somebody guide you through the workout after that. And you want to have maybe check in with your personal trainer once a month or once every few weeks or something like that. If you're really uncertain about what you're doing, that's cool. But you don't want them breathing over your shoulder every time. Now, I know it sucks if you're a personal trainer, because personal trainers typically charge by the hour and they want to be there with you with every workout. But if that's not working for you mentally, and it doesn't work for me mentally, then it's not going to work. It's not going to work out for anybody, because all that means is you're going to stop training altogether, and nobody wants that. those are my tips for hacking your brain to help you motivate yourself to work out if you hate working out. It's taken me a really long time to figure all this stuff out, far longer than it probably should have, and if I'd had access to this video 10, 15 years ago, I probably would have been a lot further along in my fitness regimen by now. But I hope that some of these tips and ideas and tricks are useful to you, as they have been to me. And I'm nowhere near the end of my fitness journey, and I'll probably unlock further fitness tricks as I go along. And when I do, I'll be sure to share them with you. But that's it for now. Swat out.